You know that face. You've seen him 100 times. The guy from Punky Brewster, the voice behind the mouse in The Thing, the lovable character actor who made you laugh in Seems Like Old Times. But here's what most people don't know about T.K. Carter, and trust me, his story is way more interesting than you'd think. We're talking about a man who went from the streets of New York to Hollywood screens, built a career that spanned 4 decades, and yet somehow remained one of the most underrated talents in the industry. Today, we're diving deep into the life of Thomas Kent Carter, and by the end of this video, you're going to understand why this man deserves way more recognition than he's ever gotten. So, stick around, because this story has some unexpected turns. Let's rewind to December 15th, 1953. New York City. That's where Thomas Kent Carter came into this world, and if you know anything about New York in the 50s and 60s, you know it wasn't exactly easy street for everyone. TK, as he'd later become known professionally, grew up in an era when the entertainment industry was just starting to open its doors a little wider, but opportunities for black actors were still incredibly limited. But here's the thing about TK Carter, even from a young age, he had something special. He had this natural charisma, this ability to light up a room that you just can't teach. People who knew him back then say he was always performing, always making people laugh, always finding a way to turn everyday moments into entertainment. It's like he was born for the stage, or in his case, the screen. Now, Carter didn't just stumble into acting. He worked for it. He studied his craft, paid his dues in local theater, did the rounds of auditions that every struggling actor knows all too well. This was the 70s now, and while Hollywood was slowly changing, it was still a tough climb for someone like him. But TK had persistence, and more importantly, he had talent that couldn't be ignored forever. His early years in the industry were all about building a foundation, small roles, guest appearances, the kind of work that doesn't make you famous but teaches you everything you need to know about the business. And let me tell you, he was learning from the best, watching, absorbing, preparing himself for the moment when his big break would finally come. So when did things start clicking for TK Carter? Well, the late 70s and early 80s became his moment. In 1980, he landed a role in the Neil Simon comedy Seems Like Old Times, starring alongside Goldie Hawn and Chevy Chase. Now, this wasn't the lead role, but here's what matters. Carter made an impression. In a movie filled with big names and bigger personalities, he held his own. He brought this natural comedic timing that caught people's attention. And that's the thing about TK Carter's acting style. He never tried to steal scenes. He enhanced them. He had this gift for making everyone around him look better, while still being completely memorable himself. Directors loved working with him because he was professional, prepared, and could nail a scene in just a few takes. Co-stars appreciated him because he was generous on camera, always serving the story rather than his own ego. But the role that really put him on the map came in 1982 with John Carpenter's horror masterpiece, The Thing. Now, you might be thinking, wait, I don't remember TK Carter in The Thing. And you're right in a way. He wasn't on screen in his human form for most of the movie. But his voice work as Knowles and his presence in the early parts of the film became iconic. This was a movie that would go on to become one of the greatest horror films ever made, and Carter was part of that legacy. Here's something a lot of people don't realize. Working on The Thing was intense. The filming conditions were brutal, the practical effects were groundbreaking but complicated, and the atmosphere on set matched the paranoia of the film itself. But Carter brought livability to the role. Even in a movie about isolation and terror in Antarctica, His character provided moments of humanity and even humor that made the horror hit harder when it came. The same year, he appeared in the drama film The Thing. Carter was building a reputation. He was the guy you wanted in your cast because he elevated the material. Whether it was comedy or drama, horror or family entertainment, he could do it all. And Hollywood was starting to notice. But if we're being honest, when most people think of T.K. Carter, they think of one role above all others: Michael Mike Fulton in Punky Brewster. From 1984 to 1986, Carter was a series regular on one of the most beloved family sitcoms of the 80s. And let me tell you, this role showcased everything that made him special as an actor. Mike Fulton was Henry Warnemont's friend and a photographer, and Carter played him with such warmth and authenticity that he became a surrogate uncle figure to millions of kids watching at home. This was primetime television in the mid-'80s, and Punky Brewster was a genuine cultural phenomenon. Kids across America were tuning in every week, and T.K. Carter was part of what made that show work. What's interesting about his time on Punky Brewster is how he balanced the comedy with genuine emotion. This wasn't just a sitcom where people delivered punchlines and waited for laugh tracks. The show dealt with real issues: abandonment, foster care, growing up different, and Carter's character was often the voice of wisdom and compassion. He brought depth to a role that could have easily been one-dimensional in less capable hands. Behind the scenes, Carter was reportedly beloved by the cast and crew. Soleil Moon Frye, who played Punky, was just a kid during filming, and by all accounts, Carter was genuinely caring and protective of her and the other young actors on set. That's the kind of professionalism that doesn't always make headlines, but it matters. It speaks to character. The show ran for 4 seasons. And while Carter was only a series regular for the first 2, his impact was lasting. Even today, when people talk about Punky Brewster on social media or in nostalgia discussions, Mike Fulton comes up. That's the mark of a memorable performance. When 30-plus years later, people still remember not just the character, but the warmth and humanity the actor brought to it. After Punky Brewster, T.K. Carter didn't just fade away like some actors do after a successful TV run. No, he kept working, and more importantly, he kept diversifying his portfolio. Throughout the late 80s and into the 90s, he appeared in a string of films and TV shows that demonstrated his incredible range. He showed up in action movies, comedies, dramas, you name it. Southern Comfort, A Rage in Harlem, Ski Patrol, the list goes on. Each role might not have been the lead, but Carter made each one count. He understood something that a lot of actors never figure out. There are no small roles, only small performances. And T.K. Carter never gave a small performance. The 90s brought more television work. Guest spots on popular shows, recurring roles, voice work. Speaking of voice work, Carter developed a nice side career in animation and video games. His distinctive voice made him perfect for character work, and he embraced it. This is a guy who understood that longevity in Hollywood comes from being adaptable, from saying yes to opportunities, from never thinking any job is beneath you. And here's something worth noting. Throughout his entire career, Carter maintained a reputation for being easy to work with, professional and talented. In an industry known for massive egos and difficult personalities, that's no small feat. He was the kind of actor directors would call back, the kind of colleague other actors respected. Now, let's talk about something that T.K. Carter always kept relatively private: his personal life. Unlike many celebrities who court publicity and tabloid attention, Carter has always maintained a low profile when it comes to his relationships and family. And honestly, in today's world of constant social media oversharing, there's something refreshing about that approach. What we do know is that Carter has been married to his wife Deborah, and by all accounts they've built a solid, lasting relationship away from the spotlight. In an industry where marriages often crumble under the pressure of fame and demanding schedules, the fact that Carter has maintained a stable personal life speaks volumes about his priorities and character. He's been a father, and those who know him say family has always come first. Even during the height of his career, Carter made sure to balance his professional ambitions with his responsibilities at home. That's not always easy when you're working in Hollywood, dealing with unpredictable schedules, location shoots, and the constant hustle that comes with being a working actor. What's particularly interesting is how Carter managed to keep his family life private without being secretive or difficult about it. He simply drew a clear line between his public persona and his private life, and he maintained that boundary throughout his career. In interviews, he's always been gracious and open about his work, but when it comes to his family, he keeps that sacred. And really, can you blame him? Let's talk money for a minute, because this is where the reality of being a character actor really becomes clear. T.K. Carter's estimated net worth is somewhere between $1 and $5 million. Now, before you think that sounds low, let's put this in perspective. Carter has worked steadily in Hollywood for over 4 decades. He's been in major films, popular television shows, and countless other projects. But here's the thing about being a character actor rather than a leading man. The pay scale is very different. The Tom Cruises and Denzel Washingtons of the world command $20 million per film. Character actors, even successful ones like Carter, make a fraction of that. But you know what? That doesn't diminish his success or his contribution to the industry. Carter built a sustainable career doing what he loved. He worked consistently, supported his family, and created a body of work that will outlast him. In an industry where the vast majority of actors can't make a living from acting alone, that's actually a remarkable achievement. The financial reality of Hollywood is that for every superstar making millions per project, there are hundreds of talented, hard-working actors like T.K. Carter who make a good living without ever becoming household names. And there's dignity in that, in being a working actor who shows up, does great work, and goes home to a normal life. So what's T.K. Carter's legacy? Well, it's complicated, and honestly more significant than most people realize. See, Carter represents something really important in Hollywood history. He was part of a generation of black actors who carved out successful careers during a time when opportunities were still limited, when typecasting was rampant, when simply getting in the door required twice the talent and 10 times the persistence. He never became a superstar, but he became something arguably more valuable. A reliable, talented professional who elevated every project he touched. Think about how many of your favorite movies and TV shows have been made better by actors like T.K. Carter, people who bring skill and commitment to roles that might seem small on paper but end up being crucial to why the story works. For young actors, especially young black actors trying to build careers in Hollywood, Carter's path offers a valuable lesson. Success doesn't have to mean being the biggest star in the room. It can mean building a body of work you're proud of, earning the respect of your peers, supporting yourself and your family, and leaving behind performances that people remember fondly decades later. And let's not forget his impact on the kids who grew up watching Punky Brewster. For a whole generation, T.K. Carter was a positive presence in their living rooms every week. He represented kindness, wisdom, and humor. In a world that often felt confusing and scary to kids, especially kids dealing with difficult situations like the ones portrayed on the show, Carter's character was a source of comfort. That matters. That's a legacy worth celebrating. What can we learn from T.K. Carter's career? First, longevity beats brief stardom. Carter has been working for over 40 years. Most actors who achieve brief fame fade away within a decade. He chose the sustainable path, and it worked. Second, versatility is valuable. Carter didn't lock himself into one type of role or one genre. He did comedy, drama, horror, family entertainment, voice work. That flexibility kept him employed when more specialized actors were struggling to find work. Third, reputation matters more than you think. Carter's reputation for professionalism and talent meant he kept getting called back. In an industry built on relationships and word of mouth, being known as someone who's great to work with is worth its weight in gold. Fourth, you don't have to be famous to be successful. Our culture is obsessed with celebrity, with follower counts and tabloid coverage, but Carter built a genuinely successful career while maintaining his privacy and living a relatively normal life. That's an achievement that deserves recognition. And finally, sometimes the supporting players are just as important as the stars. Movies and TV shows don't work without great actors in every role. The next time you're watching something and a character actor delivers a perfect moment, remember that's someone like T.K. Carter, a professional who's dedicated their life to the craft. As of today, in 2026, T.K. Carter is 72 years old. While he's not as active in the industry as he once was, he's retired on his own terms after a career that spanned more than 4 decades. He's alive, well, and hopefully enjoying the fruits of all those years of hard work. It's worth noting that there's been some confusion online about Carter's status, with some people mistakenly reporting various rumors. But the facts are clear. He built an impressive career, contributed to some genuinely beloved entertainment, and did it all while maintaining his dignity and privacy. So here's what I want you to take away from this. T.K. Carter may not be a household name, but he absolutely should be recognized and celebrated for his contributions to film and television. He's the kind of actor who makes everything better, who brings professionalism and talent to every project, and who represents the very best of what it means to be a working actor in Hollywood. The next time you watch Punky Brewster or The Thing or any of his other work, take a moment to appreciate the skill and dedication he brought to those roles. And maybe, just maybe, we should all start paying more attention to the character actors who make our favorite entertainment possible. So here's my question for you. What's your favorite T.K. Carter role? Did you grow up watching him on Punky Brewster? Did you discover him through his film work? Drop a comment below and let me know. And if you learned something new about this underrated talent today, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel. We've got plenty more stories about the unsung heroes of Hollywood coming your way. T.K. Carter, character actor, professional, and a genuine talent who deserves way more recognition than he's gotten. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.